New England is going to be much better than people expect. I think they have a really good defense. I think that the biggest problem they had last year, and I don't know what the hell Bill thought he was doing, but the combination of Matt Patricia and Joe Judge had no more business trying to develop a young quarterback than I do. And I think that absolutely set back their season and the development of Mac Jones. But now I think they've gotten it right. They went out and they got him a guy who has proved he knows how to develop a quarterback in Bill O'Brien. They have a good running game. I think they're going to get DeAndre Hopkins, which will automatically elevate their receivers room. And they still have Bill, who I think sometimes people forget just how good he is. This whole, oh, it was Brady all along thing. Well, slow down. I think the Patriots are going to be surprisingly good this year.
It is what it is. I don't have anything to add.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Plus, you can watch and listen on the ESPN app.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Justin Kinner, Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Kinner and Kev, minus Kev today. Kev will be back with us starting on tomorrow's show. A lot to dive into today. For those that missed our conversation with Phil Steele, we're going to have that for you coming up around the corner. We dissected some of that conversation from our 20-minute sit-down with him yesterday. A lot of interesting things. There's an opponent on the Buckeyes schedule that I think everyone has circled for the obvious reasons, but there's another opponent that Ohio State needs to be just as concerned about. And that's not my opinion. That's also Phil Steele. So we'll get to that coming up. But I want to open up a little Bengals talk. All-Star game tonight, by the way. Home run derby champion Vlad Guerrero Jr., 16 years after his father, Vlad Guerrero, won it back in 2007. Jr. wins it last night in impressive fashion, of course, in the All-Star game live from Seattle. Will be later on this evening. We'll talk about that. Only one red on the roster, Alexis Diaz, his first All-Star nod of his career. Will we have a chance to see him tonight? Let's hope so. And then after that, a couple-day break, and then the second half of the season officially is underway, and that's how we're off and rolling. Again, I'm Justin Kinner, solo today. If you want to jump in and be the co-host, all you got to do, give us a call. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. All right, let's get to it, shall we? The Bengals announced today that they will be hosting their Ring of Honor ceremony on Monday Night Football against the Rams, a Super Bowl rematch from 2 years ago, of course. And the lot stemming from this. Look, the matchup, I have no problem. Look, of course, you're not going to do this at a 1 o'clock kickoff on a regional broadcast. You want to do it on the big stage, and I think that Monday Night Football matchup is a perfect opportunity to do that. So, current members of the Bengals Ring of Honor class include Ken Anderson and Willie Anderson, no doubt there, Paul Brown, Isaac Curtis, Anthony Munoz, and Ken Riley. Okay? Both Andersons, Ken, Willie, Paul Brown, Isaac Curtis, Anthony Munoz, and Ken Riley. So, again, with that being said, we sit back and we look at this and we're like, okay, well, who's next? All right? Who's next? So, the nominees this year, okay, and keep in mind, voting for the Ring of Honor took place between May 22nd and June 11th. The top 2 vote getters will be inducted into this year's Ring of Honor ceremony. Of course, we're Ring of Honor, which will, of course, the ceremony be held, as we talked about, against the Rams in Monday Night Football later on this year. The nominees: Jim Breach, James Brooks, Chris Collinsworth, Corey Dillon. It's an interesting name we're going to talk about in a moment. Boomer Esiason, Chad Johnson, David Fulcher, David Lapham, Max Montoya, Lamar Parrish, Bob Trumpy, Reggie Williams. And there you go. I bring this up because, again, it's time for that generic question of, well, who should be in? Who would you put in the Ring of Honor? And I got to ask you guys this because there's something that Corey Dillon has complained about as of late that I'm actually team Corey Dillon on, and I am curious. And me and Kev talked about this the other day about why as far as the All-Star game goes, fan voting, how much weight does that have on generating your interest in something? I never vote on All-Star games. I never vote on stuff like this, for Ring of Honors and stuff. I mean, I'm not a Bengals fan, but it just, even if it was for the Browns or the Cowboys or teams I follow, I'm not that invested into it enough to take time to place a vote, whether it's on my phone or whatever. I'm interested in it because a Ring of Honor is an opportunity to highlight legends of your franchise, and I think this is the way to do it. I am just as into who is inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame every year, and I don't have a vote. You don't have a vote. We don't vote for that. So why would I not be interested in this? I am not a fan of the idea that season ticket holders get to vote on this. For one, I'm also one of those, I'm not a very trusting person. Do your votes are they actually counting your votes? Like, you're voting, you're interacting, but let's be clear. I mean, how do we know that those are valid? I mean, I sound like I sound like, no, I'm not going to go there. I can't go political here, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like, I don't trust the validity of the election, right? That's where we're going with it. I don't know if the season ticket holders who actually vote on this stuff, if their vote actually counts, right? So why do something this silly? I don't believe that fan interaction through a vote is going to all of a sudden lead to an increase in ratings and interest in your product and everything else. That's Joe Burrow. People care about the Bengals right now because of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. They don't care about the Bengals all of a sudden because, oh man, they let us vote for the Ring of Honor. I bring this up because fans get to vote on two. And the big question is, who are those two going to be? Well, Corey Dillon has a huge problem with how the Bengals are going about doing their Ring of Honor. Okay, so what's interesting about this is the quote that I have here from Corey Dillon regarding the Bengals. He says the Bengals are smart. Don't hear that often. He says the Bengals are smart. Corey Dillon says, I have to give it to them. We will put it in the hands of the season ticket holders so they don't have to take the backlash over who the voters are picking. Corey Dillon's not a fan of those who have been voted upon. First of all, I'm reading this list of current members in the Ring of Honor for the Bengals: Ken Anderson, Willie Anderson, Paul Brown, Isaac Curtis, Anthony Munoz, Ken Riley. There is not a name that's in there that shouldn't be in there after the first 2 years of having this thing. And there is not a name that is going to go in, the two names that are going to go in this upcoming season. You can't get this wrong, right? Like, what are we getting mad at, Corey Dillon? What are you mad at? I don't get what Corey Dillon's mad at, to be quite honest with you. He goes on to say this is BS. Corey Dillon says that's complete BS. The SH blank T word, He goes, that's BS. The blank should come straight from the team. Half these season ticket holder people never seen half of us play. Now, this is what Bengals fans do. Carson Palmer back in the day called out the Bengals for being cheap and not willing to invest heavily to make a winner, right? He was right, but what do you guys do? You crap on him because he bailed and he wanted to get away from your team, right? Like, he was the smart one. He was the one saying, hey, you guys aren't running things correctly. I want out of here. Corey Dillon, same thing. Corey Dillon left kind of on weird terms with the team and the organization, right? So if you're not with us, you're against us. And that was the Bengals fan mentality when it came to Corey Dillon. Completely fine with that. I understand that. But Corey Dillon's not wrong with this when he thinks that, okay, the fan voting could be, it's almost a popularity contest and not a who's more deserving contest. However, I will say this. Here's why I question the validity of the season ticket holder vote. Okay. Bengals fans couldn't even come close to selling out that stadium a few years ago. Now there's a wait list for season tickets. Give me a break. Okay. I say that because I think a lot of the season ticket holders, yes, and I have a lot of older fans, yes, but I think there are a lot of newer fans too. If this was a popularity contest, that wouldn't mean that Corey Dillon's not in. That would mean that Chad Johnson's in. Because I think the most popular Cincinnati Bengal right now, outside of Anthony Munoz, who's already in, I think the second most popular Bengal of all time that's not in the Ring of Honor right now, it's no doubt it's Chad Johnson. That's the most recognizable name. I mean, he has been about as good of a brand ambassador for the Bengals as any former Bengal out there. So this is where I disagree with Corey Dillon. I think what he's complaining about is valid. I don't like the idea of season ticket holders getting a vote to begin with. I think it's kind of silly. However, I also don't think I don't think it matters. I don't think that they're actually taking the season ticket holder votes. I know this is a weird pot to stir. I'm not losing sleep over this, and there's no reason for you to get mad at me and think that I'm stirring the pot to try to anger people. I just think that this stuff is done as a marketing ploy to make you feel like you're invested into it, like you're involved. But you're not involved, okay? You're not involved. You may think you're involved, but you're not involved. You mean to tell me that Chad Johnson hasn't been voted upon by the fans over the last 2 years to get in this thing? Give me a break. Corey Dillon's right. Season ticket holders should not have anything to do with this. At the same time, that's not why Corey Dillon's not in the Ring of Honor. You don't get to crap on the team that you left. You don't get to have a non-peaceful exit, okay? You don't get to do any of that stuff in Cincinnati and then sit there and say, well, I don't know why the fans haven't voted me in. I'm taking the Bengals side on this. Corey Dillon, you sound like sour grapes. By the way, why all of a sudden now do you care about this? I know the Ring of Honor is only a couple years old, but now it's cool to be a former Bengal, right? Like that's the thing I'm laughing at some of these guys about. There are certain guys I will always give credit to. Anthony Munoz has always been a great ambassador for the organization. Even when things are bad, he's not bad-mouthing the organization publicly. Same thing with Chad Johnson. Got to give him credit. He calls it how he sees it. Well, we need to improve here. We need to improve there, back when things were really bad. But to his credit, he's always been a brand ambassador. He's always been a brand ambassador for the Cincinnati Bengals. Guys like that have always taken pride in that organization, right? Then there are guys like Carson Palmer. Then there are guys like, Hushmanzada. Then there are guys like Corey Dillon who have not parted ways in the best of terms or have not always been shy of voicing their displeasure with the organization. And guess what? You look at that, and that's why they're not in. You can't badmouth the organization and expect them to do favors for you. It's just how it works. I'm a very mouthy individual. I have very hard opinions. I have opinions that rub people the wrong way. So when certain things happen to where I'm not allowed to go to a certain place or invited to a certain event because of things that I've said about certain people, I can't sit there and get mad. It's like, yeah, I kind of had that coming. If I'm overly critical of a certain coach in town and he's so used to media drooling over everything that he does, and I'm the only one that's not doing it, all of a sudden, no time for Kinner. And that's okay. That's part of it, okay? So the same thing, I can relate to this. You can't badmouth your fans. You can't badmouth the organization. You can't have a non-peaceful exit and then expect those same fans to love on you years and years and years later. Doesn't work that way. You want to talk about popularity? Let's throw Ickey Woods in there as well. There are three names. I mean, look, Chad Johnson, if this was a popularity contest, let's be clear. If this was a popularity contest, Ickey Woods and Chad Johnson would be in the Ring of Honor already. The reason I know the season ticket holders' votes actually don't matter, that it's just a way to trick them into making them feel like you're a part of something, is because fans don't get anything right. There's no way that like everyone was on the same page and said, we're gonna make sure some of the old timers get in first so they can enjoy it and be recognized and honored by the team. And Chad Johnson has plenty of years left. Corey Dillon has plenty. Fans don't think logical. Fans think, what do I like? What do I like right now? And I think the fans, which is a pretty younger fan base, the Bengals, it's not like this is one of the oldest organizations out there. They've been around for a few decades. Yes, don't get me wrong. But I don't trust that the fans, the season ticket holders, would have got this perfectly right. And I believe that they've gotten it perfectly right with the names that are currently in there. Ken Anderson, Willie Anderson, Paul Brown, Isaac Curtis, Anthony Munoz, and Ken Riley. Give me a break. Those are tremendous names. Those are the right names. Those names should be in, no doubt about it. But if it was a popularity contest, and I do think that the voting would reflect that, if we actually got a true reflection of actual voting, and I don't believe that we do, I think we would have already seen Ickey Woods in there. I think we would have seen Chad Johnson in there. That's kind of where I'm going with this. So it is what it is. Both things can be true. The organization is kind of silly for letting the fans do this anyways. Half the season ticket holders didn't even see some of these greats play back in the day. So why are they getting a vote for it to begin with? Agree 100%. However, I also don't think that their vote even matters to begin with. There we go. Kinner and Cav, 1410 Wing AM. We're live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Give us a call, 518-1410. Eddie Spaghetti on YouTube. What a funny name. But he goes, yeah, now that the Bengals are good, he wants the association with them by all of us fans watching TV to see his name pop up there now and then. F that guy. That's from a comment on YouTube. Corey Dillon. I respected him, the way he called out the organization on his way out, the way that Carson Palmer did as well. The reason I respected those two is because they're doing what I wish Joey Votto would have done. They're doing what I don't mind athletes doing. And that's when you are busting your ass day in and day out, trying to push your organization forward, and your own organization's getting in your own way because they're cheap and they're not investing into the product. You know what? I have no problem when athletes call their organizations out. Carson Palmer did it. Corey Dillon did it. I wanted Joey Votto to do that with the Reds. I don't mind that. I respected that. What I don't respect is this. You can't sit there and call them out and then sit there and say, well, woe is me. Why are they not putting me in the Ring of Honor? You didn't even like the organization. That's why you wanted out. I don't know. Just kind of a strange situation nonetheless. Corey Dillon would go on to say, it breaks down to what I thought initially, which I hope is not true. Corey Dillon believes the reason he's not in is he says that I think that they are mad at me for being vocal and going on to win a championship. That's the only thing I could think of. Is he saying the organization or you, the fans? In the comment section, if you don't mind, this isn't a stirring day for me. I'm not trying to get in arguments with Bengals fans, so relax. How many of our listeners are season ticket holders? And how many of you have any interest in voting for Corey Dillon? And how much of that, of you not wanting to vote for Corey Dillon, is based on the fact that he went on to win a championship with the Patriots? I don't know if that's it. If you need to justify it mentally so you could sleep at night, then fine. He also goes on to say that the way that the Bengals run the Ring of Honor is damn near criminal. I mean, this is quite a rant. I wish I had the audio of it. Corey Dillon says it's damn near criminal what the Bengals Ring of Honor voters are pulling off. To be honest with you, did I not play for them? I don't know. He goes, I'm curious about that because it looks like they are glossing over me. For what reason? Because I left? That's not a good enough reason. Corey Dillon, I think he'll get in the Ring of Honor eventually. I think the team is actually running the Ring of Honor. I don't think the fan votes are what's determining it. So let's just get that out of the way. As I've said like 500 times throughout the opening of this show. However, his time's coming. But if there's a pecking order of guys that deserve to be in, he's at the bottom of that pecking order. He's going to get in, but it's not anytime soon. So there's that. By the way, the names I think are going to get in. I think if fan voting was accurate and correct, I think that you would see Boomer Esiason and Chad Johnson in. I think Boomer gets in. I don't know who the second one's going to be. I don't know who should be the second induction to the Bengals Ring of Honor. All right, who should be the two? I mean, I think Boomer and Chad Johnson should be the two. I think Chad should have got in last year. I love that Willie Anderson got in. By the way, Willie Anderson, a little bit of a newer name, obviously a Hall of Famer now as well. But yeah, let's continue this conversation. Do you agree or disagree with me? A lot of Bengals fans are used to disagreeing with me. I don't think that's going to be the case today. Am I wrong? Am I right? Give me a call. 518-1410. Justin Kinner with you here, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back.
Are you women who want a man on the street? Don't know which way you want to turn. Just keep on coming and put your hand up to me.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast is mostly clear and 67 tonight. Sunshine 89 for the day tomorrow. Rain on Thursday, a high of 87. Rick Schrepp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-497-9090. That's 800-497-9090. 800-497-9090.
Do you or any of your family members, neighbors, or friends own a property that you just want to be done with it? If so, call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you to take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. Call 614-470-2000. That's 614-470-2000.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
Want to feed your family without breaking the bank? Take a trip to Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 16-piece family meal at a great price. With 16 pieces of our classic honey-dipped, hand-breaded Famous Recipe Chicken, 4 craveable large sides, and 8 fluffy biscuits. It's affordable eats done right. Treat your crowd to the best for less with a Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken 16-piece family meal. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Okay, next time you're at the store, I dare you to not think about the unmistakable fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring. Yeah, you heard me. I want you to resist picturing a shower filled with those sensational Irish Spring suds. And if you succeed, well, you got what my gramps used to call resolutitude. Not a real word, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up leaving with Irish Spring because of its irresistible scent and because you have zero resolutitude. Pick up Irish Spring at Walmart today.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, get up to 40% off select bathroom faucets and vanities. Plus, buy Southwire Romex Simple 12-gauge indoor wire at our everyday low price of $109. Head to your local Lowe's or visit us at Lowe's.com for more deals you can't beat. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Valid 7/6 through 7/12 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. U.S. only.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Not so comfy? They want to help. At Drake Heating and Air, they're all about getting your AC running ice cold again. Get your $99 AC tune-up with no hidden fees and no surprises. They're not happy till you're comfy.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on
1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. You can also text that same number and take advantage of that as well. We're live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Make sure you take advantage of that, as well as ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. That's where you can watch the show and jump in the chat section and interact with the topics at hand. For those of you who are at work and can't really call in and that type of stuff. But I know we have Larry on hold. Larry, I see you're on hold along with Eric and Mike. Larry, I'm going to get to your call to kick things off here in just 1 second. Give me a second as I reset here. But for those who weren't with us to start the show, the Bengals announced that they're going to host their Ring of Honor ceremony on Monday Night Football against the Rams. Okay. We don't know who the two names are going to be that are nominated or that are, that are going to be inducted. We don't know the inductees yet. We'll find that out here, who's going to be inducted coming up here soon. But the current members of the Ring of Honor: Ken Anderson, Willie Anderson, Paul Brown, Isaac Curtis, Anthony Munoz, and Ken Riley. Okay. And there's a lot of nominees. Jim Breach, James Brooks, Chris Collinsworth, Corey Dillon, Boomer Esiason, David Fulcher, Chad Johnson, Lapham, Montoya, Paris, Trumpy, Williams. And so Corey Dillon's on this list. I'm trying to figure out why Corey Dillon is so angry, because Corey Dillon, I could see where his anger would come from if he at least wasn't a nominee. Like Carson Palmer's not a nominee. If you know what I mean? Like if there was no, if his name wasn't on here and Dillon's name's not on here, I get his frustration. Doesn't mean I agree with it, but I would understand where it's coming from. I have no clue what he's upset with here. For one, he's upset that he was not a part of the first two Ring of Honor classes. Corey Dillon, what the hell's wrong with you? Why do you think that you deserve to be in the Ring of Honor over Ken Anderson or Willie Anderson or Paul Brown? What the hell did you do for you to think that you could be in over Isaac Curtis or Anthony Munoz or Ken Riley? There's not one name on that list that you can make an argument that Corey Dillon should be in over. I'm just going to be honest. And I said earlier, I respect athletes who hold their team and organization's feet to the fire. If they are not doing what they're supposed to, I have no problem with them calling them out and holding them accountable. I think that is totally fine. I don't like athletes who hijack their team and who hold their team hostage. Like, I don't like what's happening in Portland right now in the NBA with Dame Lillard, where, hey, I don't really like the direction of which we're going. I don't want to be a part of a rebuild, so I'd like to be traded. No problem with that. But I want to be traded, and I only want to be traded here. Pipe down, buddy. They don't owe you a damn thing. They paid you every dime that they told you they were going to. That's the only thing that they owe you. I have no problem with that. But I don't mind athletes doing that. But what I do have a problem with is if you do that and you don't get what you want and you throw a temper tantrum and things go poorly and end poorly, you shouldn't be that shocked if you're not in the front of the line to be put in a Ring of Honor or some kind of, recognition ceremony for the team's history. So you can't have it both ways. You took your pads off and threw them into the stands. Remember all that? I mean, there was a complete childish behavior that he did walking off the field that day. So that's where it's wild. He is a nominee. Okay. He has not been voted in years 1 and 2. I guarantee he will not be in this one. So that's what's wild about all of this. But yeah, he said that it's damn near criminal what the Bengals Ring of Honor voters are pulling off. He goes on to say, I'll be honest with you. Did I not play for them? I don't know. I'm curious about that, he says, because it looks like they are glossing over me. For what reason? Because I left. That is not a good enough reason. He also said that what the Bengals are doing is smart. I got to give it to them. We'll put it in the hands of the season ticket holders so they don't have to take the backlash over who the voters are picking. First of all, as I stated earlier, I think that who the voters are picking aren't the guys that are actually making it. I have a hard time believing that all the season ticket holders, who I would say are predominantly younger, that maybe most of them did not watch. Like, that's where I will agree with Corey Dillon. Most of the season ticket holders are on the younger side because the Bengals lost a lot of fans for how bad they've been for so long, that a lot of the newer fans are younger. I don't think they watched back in the day. I don't think they watched in the 80s. You know what I mean? They definitely didn't watch in the 90s. The early 2000s were a little rough. It got a little better heading into the 2010s, obviously. And then it got south again. And then obviously, they're in a pretty good spot right now. Pretty good. Not great, but sarcasm, of course. So is what it is. But I'm fascinated. Again, voting took place between May 22nd and June 11th. Top 2 vote getters will be inducted into this year's Ring of Honor class. Who that'll be, I don't know. I said Boomer Esiason and Chad Johnson would be my 2. But Corey Dillon calling this a popularity contest. That's not what this is. If this was a popularity contest, Chad Johnson would already be in. Ickey Woods would already be in. That's kind of where I'm at with that. This isn't a popularity contest. I think the names that are already in deserve to be in. And I think the next 2, no matter, I mean, let's be clear, they all deserve to be in. Corey Dillon technically deserves to be in. He just doesn't deserve to be in over these guys. Let's go to Larry. Larry, thanks for holding, my friend. How are you?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Another day in paradise. What you got for us?
Man, I've been waiting to sound off on Corey Dillon for so long. Oh, God. Justin, the 90s, man, I mean, that was my era in Bengals. That's like when I was in high school and, you know, I knew every stat and I knew everything. Man, Corey Dillon, I can't say what he is on the air, but it starts with a B, and I'm sure you can figure the rest out. That guy was so beloved by the fans. I was at the game. My very first Bengals game was that game that he threw everything in the stands.
Really?
And, oh, yeah, absolutely. And he was booed. Basically, they were bringing in Rudy Johnson to run a little bit, and he was getting mad because Rudy was doing really well. And that kind of got him a little butthurt. And then next thing you know, he just kind of, you know, he's just being all Corey Dillon, didn't really have the greatest year, not a bad year.
Yeah.
But the fans still loved him until he pulled back. If he would have just simply, because he was near the end of his contract anyway, if he would have been like, just trade me, get me out of here, look, I want to go to a winner, the fans had been like, hey, we can't blame him. Like, the guy played his heart and soul for us. He was a great running back on just some horrendous teams, but he didn't go out like that. He went out just like a child. And then when he did win the Super Bowl, he rubbed it in the Bengals' face. Like you're just kicking a franchise that's already down. And then now you're going to come back after all these years, not like an apology, like, hey, man, I shouldn't have done that. I was young, whatever. Now you're going to come back and you're going to whine and cry because you don't get voted into the Ring of Honor. I mean, number one, we just got a Ring of Honor. We don't even know what we're doing yet with it.
Yep.
I mean, it took us 40 years to get it. Number two, he wasn't even beloved. I mean, he was beloved until he done that. If he did, like, yeah, he's going to be in the Ring of Honor. He's one of an all-time great Bengal. But he's going to have to wait, man, because there's other people that done more for the franchise that put up just as good numbers as he did that are going to get in before him.
Yeah, and Larry, real quick, the other thing, too, and this, I don't think he's not in just because he took off the pads and threw it into the stands and had that little ugly exit. I think that even if he left on good terms and there was no ill will, I still don't think he's in, not because he's not worthy of being in. It's just there's a pecking order to this. And I just think there are guys that are more deserving that I think the Bengals have a lot. They have decades and decades of making up to do as far as honoring the franchise's history. And Corey Dillon, although I think the team's leading rusher, all that fun stuff, although that's part of the history and part of the story, and it will be told at some point. I just don't think you do that in the first couple of years of the Ring of Honor. I think he'll be there eventually. I don't think he's a victim here. He's trying to be a victim. So. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I mean, Corey Dillon is one of those running backs that, you know, he's kind of on the cusp. I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer, but like he's probably, you could make an argument for him. I mean, for sure. I mean, if you make it, you know, I mean, there's lots of running backs you can make an argument for, but I guarantee if he ever was called to Canton, he would go in as a Patriot. He wouldn't go in as a Bengal, even though he only played. I mean, he won a Super Bowl with them. He only played with them for a couple years.
And the other thing, too,
it's the kind of person that he is.
He hasn't cared about this at all. I know that the Ring of Honor is only a couple years old, but he hasn't wanted anything to do with this organization forever. And now that it's cool to be a Bengals fan, right? Like for the first time in a long time, it's cool to be a Bengals fan. It's cool to be a Bengals alum. Because the only thing Bengals alum did before this was just trash the organization for how cheap the ownership was, right? Like, I mean, that's what TJ Houshmandzadeh does constantly.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. So,
why do you think we have so much PTSD when you trash us? Because we've been trashed for 30 years, man. Like, hey, cut us some slack. I mean, we get a little angry about that stuff, you know. Like, we've heard it all, and now that, you know, we're actually pretty good, it's like, let us
Let us
relish
live.
in this.
Yes.
Yeah, just like, we've been kicked around a lot, but yeah, man, it just sucks because I was a kid and I loved that guy, and I just thought he was the greatest thing in the world. And when he'd done that, I was just like, the heck with him. Like, I can't believe you would act like that, because you could have just went out a different way. You could have just been like, look, I mean, he could go out like Dame is, like, hey, man, you're not doing anything for me. You gotta let me try to win something. And everybody been like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But we're not giving him anything. We're giving him David Klingler. We're giving him just a bunch of just terrible quarterbacks and terrible play. And the guy is always, up in the top 5 in rushing. I mean, yeah, the heck with him. Yeah, he can wait his turn. Like, should he be in before Ickey? Yeah, he was a better running back than Ickey Woods. Ickey Woods only played for 1 year. But yeah, let him wait 3 or 4 years. He'll get his due.
I think Ickey gets in before. I don't know. I think Ickey gets
more
in
popular.
before, so.
For sure.
But that's why when he said this was a popularity contest, I'm like, to be fair, if it was a popularity contest, Chad Johnson and Ickey Woods would already be in. So, we'll see.
Oh, yeah.
But,
exactly. But it's such a stupid thing. It's just a way to get your name out there. And why do you want to be like that?
Yep.
When you could have just been like, oh, man, I can't wait till I get my chance. Everybody been like, the younger generation, they don't know who Corey Dillon is. I do. And they'll be like, oh, man, we forgot about Corey Dillon. Let's look him up. Oh, my goodness. That could be a Mitchell and Ness jersey I could buy one day. But no, you got to be like this. The heck with him, man. Whatever. We don't need that negativity. Not in Who Dey Nation anymore. We don't need it.
Larry, talk to you later. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you, bro.
518-1410, 518-1410. Justin Kinner with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. All right, so we know that Joe Burrow has the best receiving corps in the NFL, but how close are some teams to closing the gap? Well, we do know about the Kansas City Chiefs, defending Super Bowl champs, the best quarterback in the NFL. He doesn't need a lot to be dominant. He has one of the best, if not the best tight end in football in Travis Kelce. But what if he gets one of the top wide receivers to add to that as well? What if Josh Allen gets another elite wide receiver to pair alongside Stephon Diggs? What sounds like what doors may have been shut might be cracked back open. How close are Super Bowl contenders like the Chiefs and Bills how close are they to closing that gap in the talent room at wide receiver between them and the Bengals? We'll talk about that when we come back. Kenner and Cav, 1410 Wing AM.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Tomorrow.
Ohio's public school educators are the heart of our schools and communities. They've dedicated their lives and careers to meeting students' needs and delivering the great public education every student deserves, no exceptions. Public education matters because our students matter. It's the heart of it all.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at gawon'twait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
Hey Dayton, have you heard? Chevrolet of Troy has you covered for all your auto service needs. We're proud to offer a state-of-the-art dealership with experienced service, parts, and body shop. In fact, we're the only dealership in Miami County with an on-site body shop. We make it easy with experienced professionals ready to diagnose your vehicle with the goal to get you back on the road quickly. That's right, Chevrolet of Troy is your best choice for service, parts, and body shop. 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
This is Keith Byers for Superbook Sports. You spend valuable time thinking about which bets to place each week. So why wouldn't you want the best company in the business to be the one who handles those bets? Superbook Sports is the most trusted name in Las Vegas, and it's now live right here in Ohio for all your sports wagering needs. Superbook has a team of dedicated odds makers behind the counter in Las Vegas setting all the prices. We're talking about guys with decades of experience showing you why Superbook has the best odds around. And right now, you can look ahead to hockey and hoops postseason and place a bet on who you think will take home the title. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-589-9966. Call 1-800-589-9966. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-589-9966. Call 1-800-589-9966.
Summer rib season is back, baby, at Frickers. Join us for the perfect pairing of frickin' chicken chunks and baby back ribs together all summer long for only $14.99. Bring the whole family as kids 10 and under eat free from the kids menu all day, every day. Spend time with the family. Enjoy frickin' chicken chunks and baby back ribs all summer long for only $14.99, and kids 10 and under eat free only at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Alpha Media Dayton, a leader in digital and broadcast media marketing, has a rare opening in our sales department for a hybrid integrated marketing consultant. If you're a dynamic individual who knows how to build successful partnerships and has a passion for helping local business drive more customers, send us an email, DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com. That's DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com, or call 937-519-0111. Alpha Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, Greg McAfee here with McAfee Heating and Air. Dayton was founded on blue-collar work. Many Daytonians worked at companies like NCR, McCall's Publishing, Delco, and the Huffy Corporation. Blue-collar work set Dayton apart in innovation and forward thinking. And today, we have a company like McAfee Heating and Air. Our apprenticeship program is a perfect opportunity to get paid while you learn. Go to mcair.com and apply today.
Not so comfy? They want to help. At Drake Heating and Air, they're all about getting your AC running ice cold again. Get your $99 AC tune-up with no hidden fees and no surprises. They're not happy till you're comfy.
Buckeye fans, don't miss Dayton's own Keith Byers every Wednesday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. I don't think there's a more talented wide receiver room in the NFL than those three right there. Joe Burrow definitely has an embarrassment of riches when it comes to those weapons. We usually don't see that kind of firepower all in one wide receiving room, but that's just, of course, how fortunate the Bengals have been as far as, where they've fallen in the draft and the guys that have been available to them, and then having the guts with one of the worst offensive lines in football to go on to select Jamar Chase with a top 5 pick. Top 4 pick, technically. And it's all worked out. A lot of people were critical of the Jamar Chase pick, not because they didn't think Jamar Chase was good or elite. They just didn't think, at least where I was coming from, and even some Bengals fans, was that, hey, you got to, of course they needed another wide receiver. They needed a lot of things. It's about prioritizing those needs. And I think you needed offensive line help more than you needed another wide receiver, but it's all worked out. You got T. Higgins and Joe Burrow in the same draft. You already had Tyler Boyd signed to an extension, who proved to be one of the best weapons in the NFL, of course. And then now we're looking at Tyler Boyd was their best, weapon that they had for a while, which is why they were as bad as they were. But that wasn't a reflection of Boyd. It just shows you they had a lot of other holes. But now teams are, although the Bengals haven't won a Super Bowl, they've won their division back-to-back years. They've got to the AFC title game back-to-back years. They've been to a Super Bowl in the last couple, and we're very, very close to winning it all. And now you see teams really, I don't know if the Bengals are responsible or not, but it's a copycat league. And when teams start to see the importance of skilled players leading to success, teams jump on that bandwagon. There's a reason that Tyreek Hill went for $30 million a year to the Miami Dolphins. I think the Dolphins saw that, man, you got Joe Burrow there, and you have T. Higgins, and you have Jamar Chase, and you have Tyler Boyd. We need a little bit more than Waddle, right? So their GM, their owner, they waddled their way over to the phone. They picked it up, and they found a way to get Tyreek Hill, right? That's why he's paid as much as he is. That's why the Vikings are dropping guys left and right, because they know they have to pay their wide receiver top dollar coming up. The Bengals, my only criticism of them is I think it's adorable and cute that they think that they're going to be able to pump $150 million a year into 2 players or 3 players. I think that's a little cute, but more power to them. I think teams are, they're seeing the importance of that. That's why so many, I do believe that's why it's been interesting kind of watching the market for DeAndre Hopkins kind of pan out the way it has. Teams haven't been able to financially prioritize wide receivers once the quarterback is paid, but that's what's making this so interesting, what's happening with DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins knows that the market out there, if he goes to the Titans or a Patriots, he could probably get $25 million plus a year. But to get that $25 million plus a year, you're going to have to play with Mac Jones. You're going to have to play with Ryan Tannehill. You're going to have to play with the Tua Tagovailoa, and Tua is way better than those guys. I mean, we saw Tyreek Hill just flourish under Tua, but I don't think Tua is one of those that you look at and say, you know what? That's why, Tyreek Hill is taken up. No, that's not the case here. Tyreek Hill had to leave Kansas City because your quarterback was making $45 million a year. The Browns would love to reunite DeAndre Hopkins with Deshaun Watson, but you got a quarterback that's making $46 million a year. Can't happen. All right. The reason that the Patriots and the Titans have popped up is because of the fact that they don't have a quarterback they've invested a ton of money into. They have the money to do it. So that's what makes this interesting. DeAndre Hopkins knows that the wide receiver market has never been hotter. So you have to take money and play with average to below average quarterbacks, or take less money and go play with the real dudes, and go play with the adults. Go play with Josh Allen. Go play with Patrick Mahomes. That's the decision right now that DeAndre Hopkins has to make. And I will say this, if he is willing to take less money, does that mean the door is back open to reunite him with Deshaun Watson? The door is back open. But if I'm DeAndre Hopkins, if I'm taking less money, I got to go somewhere that it's a for sure thing. If I'm sacrificing money, I can't go and risk it in Cleveland. As much as I love the Browns, I would not risk going to play with Deshaun and the Browns right now. I believe Deshaun's going to be great. I believe the Browns are going to be great. But I understand everyone's hesitancy with the Browns, and I definitely understand why he would be hesitant if he was willing to go the route to take less money, why Cleveland would not be at the top of that list. If I'm taking less money, I'm playing with Patrick Mahomes. If I'm taking less money, I'm playing with Josh Allen. There's not a whole lot of quarterbacks I'm taking less money to go play for, but if I get to play with those quarterbacks and potentially win the Super Bowl, that's your bread and butter right there. That's a no-brainer. So Dov Kleiman tweeted this out a little bit ago in his typical copy and paste form, that the Bills would love to sign wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins if he's willing to ring chase and take less money. Now, this was during an appearance on the Rich Eisen show. Jeff Darlington with ESPN said, my understanding, this is Jeff Darlington saying this, my understanding with the Bills is like, yeah, they love DeAndre Hopkins. He'd be a great addition, but they're not going to pay him. Now, it's not just the Buffalo Bills who are sitting there kicking the tires on this once again. They're pretty aggressive about trying to pursue this. It's also the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are trying to rework a couple contracts that will open up more money that would put them in position to go get DeAndre Hopkins. Putting DeAndre Hopkins with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, I'm sorry, don't get mad, Bengals fans, but I think that's better than, and not by much, and it doesn't mean the Bengals are out or anything. I think Stephon Diggs is better than T. Higgins, and I think DeAndre Hopkins is better than Jamar Chase. Now, you're going to say, no, I'll take Jamar Chase over Hopkins. That's fine, but we're talking about in this 1 year window. Hopkins doesn't have many years left where he's going to be one of the top dogs, but I think he's a top dog right now. I think you're going to get way more out of Jamar Chase in the long haul than Hopkins. He's much older. That's why. But, I mean, right now, you put DeAndre Hopkins and Stephon Diggs in that wide receiver room, I think it's better than the Bengals. But that's not a shot at the Bengals. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why you guys got to get offended by that. That's just how talented the Bills wide receiver room would be if they'd find a way to get it done. The Kansas City Chiefs, that wide receiver room would not be better than the Cincinnati Bengals. But if you have Travis Kelce, a pass catcher, a playmaker, and DeAndre Hopkins, look out. Look out. That attack is still better than the Bengals. And that's not a shot at the Bengals. But I bring this up because as much as you guys think I like to pile on Cincinnati and bury them and all this stuff, keep in mind, I don't think the Chiefs are aggressively going after DeAndre Hopkins if it's not for the pressure that the offensive attack of the Bengals puts on them. Now, just because Patrick Mahomes won an MVP and a Super Bowl MVP with one of the worst receiver rooms in football, it doesn't mean that they want to continue going down that path. Just because you found a way to succeed through a much more difficult path doesn't mean that you want to continue going down that difficult path. Just because you could overcome adversity on that difficult path doesn't mean that that's a path that's worth taking every single time. But I do believe they see how much easier the game is for Joe Burrow. Patrick Mahomes is great. Patrick Mahomes works way harder to get his numbers than Joe Burrow does to get his. Patrick Mahomes has to scramble. Patrick Mahomes has to make plays on the run. Patrick Mahomes has to make plays with guys that are not Jamar Chase and not T. Higgins and not Tyler Boyd. Oh, but he has Travis Kelce. So he has one. He has one. What would Joe Burrow look like if he didn't have Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins and he just had Jamar Chase? He would not look like Patrick Mahomes. Still maybe effective. You'd get the big boom plays here and there. Not nearly as effective. Would not be an MVP candidate. The Bengals would not be winning 12, 13-plus games. That's not a hot take. That's not a shot. That's just common sense and the reality of it. All right? That's kind of where I'm at with this. So I think that the Chiefs look at the Bengals and say, we won't admit this. I'm not going to say we want to be the Bengals, but we want what the Bengals have. We want that offensive attack. There's a reason that the Bengals, once you have it, you don't want to let it go. I think the Bengals are flawed in their thinking. I don't think they get it done, folks. I don't know how you're going to keep Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. I just don't see it happening. I think it's easy to say things this summer. Oh, I don't believe in making other teams better. Well, to make your team better, you're going to have to part ways. Sending T. Higgins to improve someone else's team is not how teams view this, okay? The Chiefs didn't say, man, I'm going to do everything we can to improve the Miami Dolphins team. No, they said, well, we got to improve our team and to be able to keep as many weapons on defense as we can. We have a quarterback that can elevate guys around him. They don't need the biggest names in the world. We have to sacrifice this. We got to move on from Tyreek Hill. And they did that. That's going to be the Bengals eventually too. But the reason they don't want to they're not willing to part ways with these guys is because they don't want to. They want to hold on to them for as long as they can. The Chiefs would have loved to have held on to Tyreek Hill as long as they can, and they did technically. But yeah, I think the Bills are seeing the same thing. We love Stephon Diggs being our number one wide receiver. The Chiefs love that Travis Kelce is their number one pass catching target. The Bengals love that they have Jamar Chase. They love that they have T. Higgins. They love that they have Tyler Boyd. Well, I think you're seeing the Bills and the Chiefs, although they won't admit it, they're kind of saying, yeah, we want to be the Bengals too. So interesting. I think the Bengals have definitely set the table for a lot of for the way that teams have attacked the free agent, not free agent market, but the market as far as how they pay wide receivers. I think that the Bengals are responsible for wow, I'm losing my mind. My apologies. I think the Bengals are responsible, for Tyreek Hill going to get the money he did. I just fumbled that like 85 times, so my bad. But yes, I think the Bengals are responsible for Tyreek Hill getting the money he did in Miami. I really do. I mean, we see the importance of it. I mean, the Bengals are a 2-win team and a 4-win team. You get Jamar Chase and bam, they're in a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, that's wild. The Minnesota Vikings, they're having to let go of Adam Thielen. They're moving on from Dalvin Cook. They're moving on from a lot of guys. Why? Because they got to pay Justin Jefferson a lot of money. You know, the Cincinnati Bengals are doing everything that they can because they have to pay their quarterback, but they also have to pay Jamar Chase and they have to pay T. Higgins. I mean, my goodness, like the wide receiver market has never been booming more than it is right now. And I think that's why DeAndre Hopkins is being very methodical, being very patient as far as that's concerned with where he ends up signing. That's for sure. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I should say no Kev Nash, but it is Kinner and Kev on 1410 Wing AM. Kev Nash will be back with us tomorrow. But it will be interesting to see what ends up happening with this DeAndre Hopkins situation, because basically it's chase the money and play with the Titans and Ryan Tannehill, chase the money and play with Mac Jones in New England, or take less money. You've made a lot of money already. Take less money and go and win. Go and win with Buffalo. I mean, you go to Buffalo and he's healthy and Stephon Diggs now becomes your second best wide receiver. Or if you guys don't want to go that far, if your second best wide receiver is DeAndre Hopkins, I'd say that's pretty damn good too. You go to Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes is throwing DeAndre Hopkins that football, and you have Travis Kelce at tight end. I mean, give me a break. You're not stopping that. Defenses couldn't stop. The Philadelphia Eagles, the best defense in the National Football League, they couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes throwing a bunch of no-name wide receivers and Travis Kelce. What you going to do when you add DeAndre Hopkins to that? Like, that's insane to me. That's insane. Kenner and Cab, 1410 Wing AM.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code TRUST at checkout. That's harrys.com, code TRUST. Enjoy.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Wendy's drive-thru is open until midnight or later for all your late-night cravings. So give in to what you want and order a Baconator even later. Hours may vary at participating U.S. Wendy's.
If you're a sports fan in the Miami Valley, make sure you subscribe to Dayton's ESPN Radio YouTube channel. Buckeyes, Browns, Bengals, local high school sports, Dayton Flyers, Wright State Raiders, and more. Search ESPN Dayton on YouTube and subscribe today.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
The Justin Kinner Show Facebook page is where you can find the show, watch the show, and interact with the show. Or you can give us a call at 518-1410, 518-1410. All right, so got some comments on the chat section here. Let me pull these in. Talking about DeAndre Hopkins. David Shaw says DeAndre Hopkins is a cancer. He doesn't want to be a number 2. There's a reason he hasn't signed yet. No bad team can afford the contract. A good team doesn't want the cancer in the locker room. Shaw, I'm here to tell you, and you're used to hearing this from me, but you're wrong. You're very wrong. What evidence is there that DeAndre Hopkins is a cancer in a locker room? I don't get that. Where is that coming from? He wasn't the problem in Arizona. He damn sure wasn't the problem in Houston. Where is this coming from? And you say that the bad teams, there's a reason he hasn't signed yet. The reason he hasn't signed yet, first of all, the reason he hasn't signed yet is because he hasn't found the offer that he's looking for. For instance, he could chase the money and go play for the New England Patriots. He's not with the Patriots because he's a cancer. He's not with the Patriots because he has Mac Jones at quarterback. No, he's a cancer because he doesn't want to sign with the Titans. What? He doesn't want to play with Ryan Tannehill. No one wants to play with Ryan Tannehill. The best thing that ever happened to A.J. Brown is he got the hell away from Ryan Tannehill. I don't know what you mean by that, Shaw. I'm just curious. And he says, no bad team can afford the contract. Actually, every bad team can afford the contract. If you're a bad team, it's because you don't have a quarterback. And if you don't have a quarterback, that means you have a ton of money to spend. So, yes, bad teams can't afford him. That's why the Titans want him. And you have average teams like the Patriots who want him. And you say that the good team doesn't want the cancer in the locker room. The good team, if you consider that cancer, the good teams would love that cancer in the locker room because that means that he took a team-friendly discount to go there. Good teams, they don't not want Hopkins because he's a cancer, according to Shaw. They don't want Hopkins because they can't afford Hopkins. It has nothing to do with want. The Buffalo Bills want DeAndre Hopkins. The Cleveland Browns want DeAndre Hopkins. The Kansas City Chiefs want DeAndre Hopkins. But the Browns, a lot of money in their quarterback. All right, the Bills, a lot of money in their quarterback, and they have Stephon Diggs. The Chiefs, a lot of money in their quarterback, in Travis Kelce. Come on. So I disagree, Shaw. Big time. Like I don't think that has ever been the characteristics of DeAndre Hopkins to be that guy. But that's what we do with wide receivers. We just label them divas. We label them guys that teams don't want because they're a cancer in the locker room, and that cannot be any further from the truth. That can't be any further from the truth. He's performed everywhere he's gone. I don't have an issue with it. All right. Justin Kinner with you here, Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Yesterday, we had Phil Steele on. Phil Steele had his the Phil Steele College Football Preview magazine, which is officially out at Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. Plenty of places you can get the magazine, but a lot of takeaways. If you missed the interview, we have that coming up for you here in just a little bit. But I do have snippets from the interview that I would love to kind of touch on. And a lot to take away. So Ohio State opens up the season against Indiana on the road. Ohio State has to play at Michigan. They have to play at Notre Dame. Playing at Indiana is not a tough stretch by any means, but I'm just letting you know that's who they open up with. But anytime you have a situation at quarterback, that where you're breaking in a new quarterback. Opening up on the road could always be a little bit of a you're playing with fire a little bit, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I'm at. So I think Kyle McCord's going to be fine. I've been very high on Kyle McCord for a while because, and I've always said this, how do we as fans, how can we trust it? We've never seen it. Well, sometimes it's kind of like Ohio State when it comes to scheduling. There are certain programs in the country that I don't need to see them play somebody to know they're somebody. Ohio State, they don't play anybody in the non-conference. Okay, well, that's a program. I don't need them to play anybody to know that they're somebody. And they do. They're playing Notre Dame. We'll get to that. Alabama, you guys love ripping their non-conference schedule. Well, guess what? That's another program. I don't need Nick Saban in Alabama to play somebody for me to know that they're somebody. You know? Georgia, and they play good non-conference schedules. In Alabama, they went on the road and played at Texas last year. They're hosting Texas this year. But those are the teams that, while everyone likes to rip them, I don't need them to play somebody for me to know they're somebody. Michigan, that's still a program that just because they've had a couple years of success, they're not at the level where I'm like, oh, yeah, they need to play somebody for me to know that there's somebody. Or they're not at the point where I could say I don't need them to play somebody for me to know that there's somebody. Phil Steele was he praised Michigan, and a lot of it had to do because not any of their position groups or anything like that. It had everything to do with the fact that they don't play anybody. That's what was wild. But Kyle McCord is a fascinating situation because although some of these teams, I don't need them to play somebody for me to know that there's somebody. That's the trust that those organizations, basically, it's pro sports now, but that those programs have established with the fans, with college football fans and their fan base in general. I'm at the point now where if Ryan Day has a quarterback and they recruited a quarterback and that's their that quarterback's good. If you're the quarterback at The Ohio State University, until I see a recent example of someone that has come in and flopped, I'm not going to distrust Kyle McCord. Now, you could say Tate Martell. Tate Martell, Ohio State moved on from. Would they have moved on for them if they didn't get Justin Fields? Who's to say they wouldn't have had another quarterback in the transfer portal that they could have went and got over Justin Fields? Who knows? But until I see a Tate Martell that actually is responsible for the every week snaps for Ohio State, I have no reason to distrust Ryan Day. And that's where I'm at with that. So yesterday we talked about that with Phil Steele, how he evaluated Ohio State in his college football preview magazine. Here's Phil Steele from yesterday regarding Kyle McCord.
You know, I think you have to go back and take a look at the history of Ohio State. And in the last 10 years, Ohio State's had numerous first-year starting quarterbacks, guys that haven't started before. And yet, Ohio State at the end of the year has had the top quarterback in the Big Ten 9 of the 10 years. So Kyle McCord is going to have a big-time season. I mean, look at the receiving core he's throwing to. You talked about it with Harrison, Ibuka, Fleming, Stover, and company. They have my number one set of receivers in the country. They've got a very solid offensive line, running backs. I think at the end of the year, Kyle McCord's a Heisman contender, much like many of those first-year Buckeye quarterbacks are. In fact, I've got Ohio State, even with the inexperience at quarterback, rated as the number 2 most talented team in the country.
Number 2 most talented team in the country. Here's the deal. Kyle McCord's been in the program for a few years now. Has he been on the main stage yet? No, he has not. But we've seen plenty of examples in college football. Okay. We've seen plenty of examples in college football where guys who, you know, haven't been a starter or no experience, but have been in the system. The experience in the system is why Kyle McCord's going to be great. Like, that's really what this comes down to. And I mean, you know how bad of a quarterback you have to be to not succeed with Ibuka and, of course, with Marvin Harrison Jr. and with Julian Fleming and everyone else that they have. Like, that's insane to me that that's where we're at. Like, I have all the faith in the world that we, of course, are going to get to the point where he is going to be a Heisman finalist when it's all said and done. Ohio State has a challenging season coming up ahead. It's a challenging schedule. But I have no problem saying that I think Kyle McCord, if this is my hot take heading into this, Kyle McCord, I'll put money on it. Kyle McCord will be a Heisman finalist when it's all said and done. Because for Marvin Harrison Jr. to be Marvin Harrison Jr., everyone's saying he's going to be a top 10 pick. No doubt about it, right? He's the highest sought after wide receiver since Jamar Chase? And they're saying that he's even a bigger prospect than Jamar Chase. He's an even biggest prospect at wide receiver since going all the way back to Megatron. So, look, this dude's legitimate. He's going to be great. The only thing that can keep him from being great is quarterback play, and I do not see that happening, not at The Ohio State University. Hell, remember Mac Jones? Mac Jones is one of my favorite stories in college football ever. Mac Jones years ago had to sit through multiple quarterbacks. He had to sit through Jalen Hurts. He had to sit through Tua Tagovailoa. He finally, after years and years of sitting behind Jalen Hurts for 2 and then sitting behind Tua for 1 year, he finally got an opportunity to be the guy. And he goes on to dominate and do everything. You know what I mean? Like Mac Jones was unbelievable. That's exactly what's happening here with Kyle McCord. I think there's a very similar path that they're taking here. I'm a big fan of Kyle McCord. I think he's going to absolutely kill it. And it was kind of nice hearing that yesterday from Phil Steele. More from Phil Steele. We've talked a lot about the matchup with that team up north, but there's another team that Phil Steele feels pretty high on right now, and it's not that team up north. It's Notre Dame. Notre Dame, of course, is in a very interesting situation because last year, of course, Marcus Freeman, local guy, takes over Notre Dame. Huge opportunity and a loss that felt like a win for Notre Dame. I mean, the fact that they held Ohio State to their lowest point total of the year. Okay. The fact that they still had a chance to win in Columbus with all the hype and all the build and everything going on campus that day, that was a loss that felt like a win. I said, because Notre Dame last year was going to have a shot at the college football playoff as long as they didn't get blown out in Columbus. And sure enough, they didn't. And you go on and lose to Marshall, and they had a bunch of bad losses. That's what kept them out, of course. But this is a much different team this year. And it's a much different team this year because of, well, it's the fact that they were able to go out and get, obviously, and Sam Hartman. Take a listen to yesterday, again, our conversation with Phil Steele.
Steps into a team that's loaded in every position except quarterback. I mean, running backs, very deep. In fact, they moved Chris Tyree to slot back. The offensive line, one of the best in the country. The defense, across the board, one of the best in the country with my number 18 set of linebackers, number 7 linebackers, number 9 DBs. The special teams, number 6 in the country. The only thing they were missing was a quarterback. They bring one in Sam Hartman. I think that's huge. And
Sam Hartman, to me, is why Notre Dame worries me more than Michigan. Michigan's got Ohio State the last 2 years. Yes, I know it's in Ann Arbor, but you look at the skill players that Ohio State has. You look at everything that they have. I'm confident in Ohio State's ability to go into Ann Arbor and get a win this year. I'm confident in their ability to go beat Notre Dame in South Bend this year, but I am a little concerned about that because that matchup, okay, with Kyle McCord, who I think is going to be a Heisman finalist when it's all said and done. And, of course, David Shaw chimes in. I'll take that bet, Justin. I'm not saying McCord won't be a good quarterback. I'm just saying he won't be a Heisman finalist. You can't be a good quarterback at Ohio State and not be a Heisman finalist. Like, I would love to know how that's a possibility, because for that to be the case, you're going to say that McCord is JT Barrett. Are you saying that he's JT Barrett? He's not JT Barrett. I think he's going to be way better than JT Barrett, and JT Barrett was just fine. I'm not anti JT Barrett. But Ryan Day, every quarterback that plays in his system is a Heisman finalist. When you have Marvin Harrison and Ibuka at wide receiver and Julian Fleming and the list goes on, he's going to be a Heisman finalist. No doubt about it. I'll put money on it. There you go. So it is what it is. But Notre Dame, that's the matchup that concerns me a little bit more than any of the others. One more tidbit here that I found very interesting was his thoughts on Michigan. I said earlier, I'm confident Ohio State can go into Ann Arbor and beat Michigan. But how good is this Michigan team? Well, we've seen this team win the Big Ten the last 2 years. They beat Ohio State the last 2 years. But those teams may not be as impressive as this team coming into the season. Here's Phil Steele on what to expect from that team up north.
This is probably the best team Jim Harbaugh's put on the field. J.J. McCarthy gives you an experienced quarterback. They got Blake Corum back at running back. Offensive line's been the Joe Moore Award winner the last 2 years, trying for 3 in a row. They've added some great transfers there. Defensively, they're extremely tough. Plus, of the big 3 in the Big East, I'm talking Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, which everybody will have as the top 3. All 3 will be in the top 10 at the start of the year. Michigan's got the best schedule. I mean, Ohio State has to play not only Michigan on the road, they also have to play Wisconsin on the road and Notre Dame on the road. So those are 3 tough road tests. Michigan's got 1 tough road test at Penn State. They do get Ohio State at home, which is key. And, of course, they've got that soft non-conference schedule. And then when you look at Penn State, they have to play Ohio State on the road. They also have to play Illinois on the road, which is going to be rather difficult. So I think of the top 3 teams in the Big Ten East, Michigan's got the best schedule.
Michigan has the best schedule. The best schedule meaning the softest and weakest schedule, which means that they're not going to be challenged and everything like that. They're not going to be challenged until that Ohio State matchup, Thanksgiving weekend, of course. But last one from Phil Steele here. And again, we'll have the full interview coming up here in just a bit. But Phil Steele also had this to say about his college football playoff 4 in Ohio State. Not one of them, but listen to why he has Michigan in there.
But my top 4 this year, going way out on a limb with number 1, which is Georgia, trying for their three-peat this year. But number 2, I did go out on a limb with Clemson, because a lot of places that I looked at in the preseason didn't even have Clemson in their top 10. I've got them number 2 in the country for the reasons I spelled out. I think they'll be favored in every single game. Number 3, I went with Michigan. I know it's tough here in Ohio State. I've got Ohio State number 2 in my power poll, but Michigan's got the best schedule in the East. They get Ohio State at home. And then number 4, Alabama. And, of course, I've got the Buckeyes number 5 just outside.
He has them just outside because of the challenging schedule. So, again, he doesn't believe this. There's a lot to unfold there. Phil Steele says this is the best team that Jim Harbaugh has had at Michigan. But that's not why he has them in the playoff over Ohio State. He has them in the playoff over Ohio State because they don't play anybody. Michigan has the easiest schedule. They don't play anyone in the non-con. Michigan's one of those, as I told you a little bit ago. There are some teams that I always believe I don't need to see them play somebody to know that there's somebody. Michigan's one of those programs. I need to see them play somebody for me to know that there's somebody. They haven't done enough for me to gain their respect to say, oh, yeah, they don't need to play anybody. I know that they're for real. No, that's not the case. Harbaugh's been there for many, many years. He's had 2 really good years, and then the rest put them in a position where he had to take less money just to stay. So there's that. I'm not going to put any stock in anything that they said about Michigan, especially because everything that they said. I mean, you heard how Phil Steele hyped up Notre Dame. The only thing he had to say about Michigan is how great their schedule is. And by great, he means weak and soft. And that means they have the easiest path to get to the college football playoff. And that's why he has them in over Ohio State, because Ohio State challenged themselves in the non-con. They're willing to go to South Bend. They're willing to go to Texas. They're willing to go to Alabama. And then there's Michigan. So there's that. A lot of interesting takeaways there. Let's see. David Shaw says, right, they won't be challenged against Penn State at Penn State. Maybe they will. I don't know. I mean, you gave up 50 to TCU. What do you want me to say? I don't know what you want me to say that. If TCU beat you up, what's Penn State going to do? Just throwing that out there. Forrest says neither teams have a hard schedule, though. What are you talking about, Forrest? How do the Ohio State Buckeyes not have a tough schedule? That's not even close to being accurate. I don't know. Unless you're talking about Notre Dame. The difference is the way he hyped up Notre Dame is he talked about how dominant their offensive line is. He talked about how dominant the receivers are. And then you get Sam Hartman, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And then you look at all the NFL prospects on the defensive side of the ball. If you're talking about Notre Dame, yeah, Notre Dame is a bigger threat to Ohio State this year than Michigan. I'm more worried about that Notre Dame matchup than I am about Michigan, because the easy schedule for Michigan means nothing when we get to that game day. I'm more concerned about the Notre Dame's quarterback is better. Their receivers are better. Michigan has the better run game, still a good run game for Notre Dame, and I'll take Notre Dame's defense. So that's where I'm at with that as far as that's concerned. Let's see. Continuing to move down this list, Chad Kinzer says Michigan is for real. At least until they get throttled in the playoffs. Yeah, they're for real unless they run into TCU, and then look out. Then things get a little difficult for them, I guess. So there you go. All right, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Ring AM. We'll step away for a few moments. When we come back, I want to revisit this Kyle McCord thing, because a lot of you seem to be jumping on my case about this Kyle McCord situation. Kyle McCord will be a Heisman finalist in 2023. I'm saying that like it's a hot take, but the fact that I have people arguing with me about that is kind of strange. We're talking about The Ohio State University. We're talking about Ryan Day and his offense. We're talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. and Ibuka. If you're not a Heisman finalist as the quarterback of Ohio State with all those weapons, you don't even deserve to play football. But scrubs aren't quarterbacks at Ohio State, not in the Ryan Day era, not in this lifetime. So for me, yes, he's a Heisman finalist, no doubt about it. Could end up being the Heisman winner when it's all said and done. Who knows? Caleb Williams, obviously the favorite out of USC heading in, who has a lot of great weapons as well. But I'm going to go with Kyle McCord. Keep in mind, Justin, you look at the fact that Justin Fields, who came in, no one knew what to expect. Justin Fields came in. No one knew what to expect. Heisman finalist. Heisman finalist back-to-back years. Oh, and then, Dwayne Haskins, same thing in Ryan Day's system. Heisman finalist. Oh, and then you look at C.J. Stroud, Heisman finalist. Every quarterback that has played in Ryan Day's system has been a Heisman finalist. There's no doubt in my mind that Kyle McCord will be a Heisman finalist. Let's debate. We'll be right back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast is mostly clear and 67 tonight. Sunshine 89 for the day tomorrow. Rain on Thursday, a high of 87. Rick Schrepp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
We're changing the game. Help your bets stay hot this summer at Superbook Sports, the most trusted name in sports gambling with a direct line to Las Vegas. And now, when you use the promo code ColumbusFan, you score up to $250 with that first bet bonus. Win or lose, Superbook will match your first bet up to $250 with the promo code ColumbusFan. Download the Superbook Sports app, enter the promo code ColumbusFan. You're going to get $250 courtesy of Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Summer rib season is back, baby, at Frickers. Join us for the perfect pairing of frickin' chicken chunks and baby back ribs together all summer long for only $14.99. Bring the whole family as kids 10 and under eat free from the kids menu all day, every day. Spend time with the family. Enjoy frickin' chicken chunks and baby back ribs all summer long for only $14.99, and kids 10 and under eat free only at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Okay, outdoor summer cocktail party fit check. I've got a hot pink and orange bodycon dress paired with vintage sneakers. It'll definitely attract attention, but not from mosquitoes, because I'm wearing it with Off Clean Feel for 8 gorgeous hours of not sticky, fragrance-free protection. So I can sip, socialize, and flirt out there in the wild with absolutely unshakable confidence. Get your pre-party protection on with Off Clean Feel. SC Johnson, a family company.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're here so you can get a bigger boat. How so? We're the one-stop shop for metal, which means you can get any metal, cut to any size, ready real fast, saving you valuable time to convince your other half why a twin-engine center console makes sense for you and your entire family. Happy fishing, soldier. Metal Supermarkets, open to the public. Visit a Metal Supermarket store near you.
By now, you should know Audio Etc. has all the same sales and deals on TVs and projectors as everyone else. But did you know we also have some of the world's best hi-fi? Hi, this is Kirby from Audio Etc. And we do have some of the best home theater, high-fidelity gear on the planet. Not only do we have your favorite brands like Clip speakers and SVS subwoofers, but audiophile greats from Bowers & Wilkins, Kef, NAD, Marantz, Cambridge, Mark Levinson, and plenty of vinyl and tube gear. Plus exotics you only see in the magazines. Stop by today and visit Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom and see and audition the best audio and video has to offer. While you're in, check out our huge selection of pre-owned vintage gear. A great way to afford great gear otherwise out of reach, or revisit old classics. Audio Etc. Sound advice you can trust. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Research shows people ignore radio ads. While I want you to remember that Liberty Mutual customizes and saves you hundreds on home insurance, I know no one's listening, so I can say anything. I can even tell Jenny that I never stop thinking about us. Sometimes I almost call, but I only truly feel safe revealing this in the privacy of my nationally broadcast radio ad.
Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com. Savings may vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Okay, outdoor summer cocktail party fit check. I've got a hot pink and orange bodycon dress paired with vintage sneakers. It'll definitely attract attention, but not from mosquitoes, because I'm wearing it with Off Clean Feel for 8 gorgeous hours of not sticky, fragrance-free protection. so I can sip, socialize, and flirt out there in the wild with absolutely unshakable confidence. Get your pre-party protection on with Off Clean Feel. SC Johnson, a family company.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at Uma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer WetJet. With Swiffer WetJet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer WetJet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
At Staples, school savings are always in session. From art supplies and essentials to the latest tech, in stock and priced low. School on, save on at your local Staples store.
ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel is where you can watch Dayton's only local sports talk show. Hang out with Kinner and Kev weekdays at 3 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Justin Kinner with you here, Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We'll have the full interview coming up here in just a moment that we did yesterday with Phil Steele. So that's coming up just around the corner. But we were able to pull some snippets from yesterday's conversation with them, and it's led to the conversation on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page and ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel now. Apparently, me having a lot of faith in Kyle McCord has rubbed some people the wrong way. But the thing is, what evidence is there out there to doubt Ohio State and fill in the blank with the name of whoever's playing quarterback for them to sit here and say that, oh, no, there's no way that they're going to have a Heisman final. Like Shaw to sit there and say that there's no way that Kyle McCord will be a Heisman finalist. That's just laughable and silly, and it speaks to his bias as a Michigan fan. Like, this isn't a hot take. This isn't a homeristic take. The one thing about this show is you could call me a Browns homer all you want, but I do criticize and make fun of the Browns as much as I praise them, and I do the same thing with Ohio State. Most Ohio State fans can't stand me. That's fine. Ask Bucknuts how much Ohio State fans really like me. They don't because, well, you know, they're all wild and crazy and think everything the program does is perfect when in reality it's not. I bet if you go to Bucknuts message board, I bet you they think they have a great defense. I'm not a Buckeye homer, but I do use common sense when it comes to looking at the landscape of Ohio State right now offensively. Look at the fact that Ryan Day, every quarterback he touches turns into a Heisman finalist. Now, is it as impressive as Lincoln Riley? Pretty much every quarterback that he touches in his offense ends up being a Heisman trophy winner. Nah, that's more impressive. Ryan Day is doing just fine. Dwayne Haskins in that system, Heisman finalist. Justin Fields, Heisman finalist. CJ Stroud, Heisman finalist. It'd be nice if one of these dudes can actually win the damn thing. A hot take would be Kyle McCord's going to win the Heisman when guys like Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, and CJ Stroud did not. But being a Heisman finalist, when you're the quarterback of Ohio State and Ryan Day's offense with the Buka and Marvin Harrison and Fleming and all these elite weapons that he has, that's a hot take. That's what's wild to me, is that I'm the crazy one here for saying that Kyle McCord, the quarterback of the Ohio State University, with all the weapons that they have in Ryan Day's offense, that's a hot take. I can't sometimes. Like, I know, oh, man, you know, it's a difference of opinion and blah, blah, blah. I'm a very stubborn person. I get it. I rub people the wrong way. Don't really care. I really don't. because there are some things I could say that are a little over the top. I don't think Kyle McCord being a Heisman finalist is all that crazy, to be quite honest with you. There's just, it is what it is. But here we are. Let's see. Yeah, no kidding. Ryan Strong says Joe Burrow Heisman winner. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I guess I could use that in my defense here. That's a Buckeye quarterback. No, not a Buckeye. He's a Tiger. All right. He won the Heisman as a Tiger. He couldn't win the starting job at Ohio State. He wasn't even very good his first year at LSU, and then finally took off. And why did he take off? Oh yeah, because of weapons. Why? I mean, I think he played with a few talented pieces at LSU, right? Joe Burrow won the Heisman because he had elite weapons. And, when we want to talk about the fact that, Caleb Williams being the favorite to win it, Shaw also goes on to say that Caleb Williams is the best quarterback in college football this year, and it's not even close. Another silly take. There's going to be quarterbacks that close the gap on Caleb Williams. For one, what he has working against him is the fact that only one guy in the history of college football has won the Heisman more than once. And that guy's a Buckeye. Just throwing that out there. All right, the chances of Caleb Williams winning that Heisman this year, I wouldn't put money on that. I'm not even putting money on Kyle McCord to win it. I'm just saying he's going to be in there. Drake May is another big name. Sean Matthew, thank you very much. Shaw tries to butter it up and say McCord could have a great season, but if the team loses 1 or 2 games, he isn't going to New York. USC lost 1 or 2 games last year. He went to New York. He won it. Justin Fields lost a game last year. He went to New York. Like, what are we doing? So you lose a game and you don't get there? I disagree with that. You're usually better than this, Shaw. I usually always appreciate the back and forth, but you're not. I mean, I get it. Our feud usually goes into NFL season and college football season. You're a little rusty as we sit here in mid-July. Usually we're doing this in August and September, but holy moly, you're a little rusty today. Anyways, how many times have we seen, Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in college football? It's not even close. Then Joe Burrow goes on to set every record imaginable and go undefeated and win the national championship and the Heisman and become the number 1 overall pick, all while beating Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, there's just no way, right? Stop it with this. Caleb Williams is very, very good, and all the hype is on him right now. Drake May is another really good weapon. There's a lot of Quinn Ewers is really, really good. But let's stop with this. Look, I'm telling you right now, putting every dime I have, so all of $6, okay? Putting $6 on it. Kyle McCord's the Heisman finalist when it's all said and done. Justin Kenner with you here, 1410 Wing AM. Shaw also didn't like my take on Michigan. Here's why I can't wait for Kevin and I can get back onto this tomorrow, because I'm curious Kev's take on all this as well. But yeah. All right, lots of good stuff from Phil Steele, and that's what we have coming up for you next. Justin Kenner with you here, Dayton's ESPN radio station. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Need legal help? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Have you heard about our new help center? It's located at the Montgomery County Courthouse, providing legal information and forms. And we also share programs and resources that may be available to you. Let us help you navigate the court system. Visit us online at courthouse2u.com for more info.
When I got the news, I was shocked. I was scared. I was angry. When I heard it could be treated with the right care, I was relieved. I was happy. I was given a second chance.
Urology Specialists of Ohio offers men peace of mind. 5 physicians and 5 locations. Now accepting new patients. Make an appointment with a physician that cares about your health and prevention. Urology Specialists of Ohio, Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. Online at urologyspecialistsofohio.com.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack.